You want to talk to us through like your upbringing, like maybe where you're from, like what your parents did, and kind of like your journey, like till through your upbringing?
Yeah, I can do that. So I'm from Southampton. My mum's from London. My mum's from Croydon, actually. Like, my mum lived or was born very near to where you guys live, or lived in Coney Hall. And then my dad's from Southampton, and parents, like, not the most adventurous jobs. Like, my dad, like, just works on his computer doing like computer network engineering, and my mum's a librarian. So it's kind of a bit of an anomaly that I'm this really creative guy. Like, if you saw my room, this isn't my room. This is like a studio almost. Like, I don't know, spare room. But my room is just like covered in like fake plants and just like weird hippie stuff. But yeah, anyway, where should I start? Yeah, school. Had like just friends with the local people, like most people do. But like, never really got on with them. I was like, always been a bare chatty kid. Like, you can tell I just waffle bare. But like, I don't know, a bit of a class clown in school. But then I'm really nice. So I was never like mean to people. So if you're funny but nice, that means people are mean to you all the time. So I never like, in school, I was the most chatty guy. But when I was outside of school, really awkward kid, not really knowing what he's doing with himself. Like, parents quite, they're not the most like talkative people. So like, they're just like, I don't know. I get home and get told off all the stuff I was doing, always in trouble. Like, and then go out and then like, my everyone was like picking on me and stuff. So like, school was a bit mad. Just went to a load of drugs. Ended up doing just loads of like pills, weed, kept fucking tripped, like doing everything. And eventually it got to a point where I was like, fuck this, I've got to leave this life. And then fucking had to basically just wrote a plan to make a life that wasn't miserable and I wasn't going to end up jumping off a bridge essentially because life was just felt shit. So I was like, right, I got to build the dream. What is the life that I wish I had? So, man, that started with just wanting to be independent. I'm quite creative, so it started off with YouTube. Like, I'd write loads of ideas down, but as time went on, that didn't work. And I started writing music a few years ago. And once I started writing music, fucking everything clicked and fucking light bulbs just went off everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just write music all the time. Like, I made a song this morning, made a few, like, I make songs every day, basically.
Hmm.
Um,
I think I think it's really exciting, like seeing you do all the music, and I think it's interesting as well. Like, I think a lot of people live very like the same lives, you know, like they don't. I don't see there's like not many unique things, and then I think it's quite exciting that you're doing the music. I want to talk about the YouTube because when I first met you, I'd say you were very ambitious and also dedicated. Like I definitely saw that you wanted to go places, and you weren't just like, oh, I just want to be this, but with no action, no plan. Like you definitely. I remember in your room, like you had post-it notes everywhere, you had plans going on, and I really admired that, and I thought it was impressive that you were kind of like working towards it. So where did this
appreciate that.
idea? You said that like you were going through like a difficult time at school, like, and there was a lot of drugs. At what point was there a turn? When was the turning point that you decided you want to get life together? Do you think there was a singular moment that kind of
100% was a big turning point. So, like, it was end of year six, exams were about to happen. No, exams had just happened. I'd broken up with my girlfriend. And you know, like, when you're young and you date a girl, you'll like go round hers after, even when you're broken up and just like hook up and shit. And like, I did that, and I did it at like fucking like 3 a.m. I just sneak out of my house, cycle to Winchester, and go meet my not girl, and then she kicked me out, and I just knew, like, I knew that that was the last time I was going to see her. I just instinctively knew. And I'm walking home. I'm so demoralized. I couldn't even like cycle my bike. I'm just walking with my bike. And at this point, I had no girl. I hated my parents. I hated all my friends. I had no idea what I wanted to be in life. And I was about to fucking leave school. So essentially, my life was that was almost like a rock bottom where I was like, life is fucking terrible. And I went past this bridge and I was like, I just kind of like begged God to die almost like some real fuck shit. Like I stood at the end at the bottom of this bridge and like I almost like saw a dead version of myself. And it was like, bro, if you die right now, you are capsulating this shit life and that's it. That's all Nathan was. And I was like, fuck, that can't be it. I can't just leave on this black mark of that can't be my life, yeah.
Yeah.
So I walked away from the bridge just thinking like, bro, I need to make life. Like I need to make something good. Like if I do not do something good with my life will be fucking terrible. And it is already terrible. So I needed to grow. So ever since, well, I spent all the I walked home and I cycled a bit for like an hour, 2 hours, just thinking about this. And when I got home, I wrote a plan. Like I just in detail wrote everything that was wrong with my life and everything I wanted, and just spent hours like playing with thoughts and ideas. And eventually, I just came up with this idea of, well, I came up with a list of what I really wanted, and it was move out, get paid to have a creative job and be able to travel the world. And essentially, my whole life, everything I do is directed in the ambition of dedication of essentially doing those three things. Otherwise, I'm just back to that place in the bridge, you know?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, like the having a plan is definitely one of like the most important things. Um, I always find those turning points in a person's life like so interesting because it's almost I think that I mean the reason why on the podcast that I like to ask people like what their upbringing is like is because it shapes a person, but also it's a part of our lives which almost feels out of control. Like I don't know about you, but when I look back to me being like 15 years old, 16 years old, like it just felt like it wasn't in my control in a way. It was almost like
Yeah.
predetermined by my parents, the school I went to, my friends. Like it just felt like all of these factors had shaped me, and it's almost like I wasn't conscious. Um,
100%. I was not conscious until something really slapped me in the face.
yeah,
And when you're young, it's almost like nothing's in your control. But the older you get, things are in your control. And like that's responsibility essentially. You get responsibility and all sometimes you fuck it up, sometimes you get it right, and you kind of learn how to like build the blocks of your life up together. And but on that point of like not feeling like awake at all, I just that situation really taught me like the first time I really thought like I need to critically analyze my life in a constructive way rather than deconstructive. Because I'd like just school would happen to me, I wouldn't happen to school. I'd just like do some dumb shit, say some dumb shit, and everyone would laugh at me or would laugh with me. And then I'd go home and get in trouble and like, and then I'd sit in my room wondering what the fuck was going wrong. And like, it was almost like my eyes woke up a bit and I was like, you know, I actually have control of this a bit. I can actually kind of guide the ship, even though the ship is fucking scraping icebergs.
yeah, completely. I think I'm just thinking about my own experience really because like when you talk about it, I feel like I relate to your experience a lot. I mean, when I was 16, I just was just bunking school every single day, and obviously my mum's a single parent, so like she couldn't really do anything about it. She was always working, so I was just bunking school, like smoking a lot of weed, never like just failing all of my classes. I remember it got so bad. I like searched on Google. I was like, what can I do in my life with no A levels? Like just like that.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah,
I just felt like it was all crumbling. And then I'd say like the rock bottom for me was I was with friends and like I did acid LSD for the first time, and
yeah.
I just had the most terrible ever experience. And like my grandma had to come pick me up, and I'll always remember this as like the most rock bottom feeling
Yeah.
my entire life. And after that, I was like, this, I just have to fix my life. Like there is,
Yeah.
I cannot keep going like this. This is just, it just, my life will never be good if I keep on this route. And then like
100%.
after that, I started like studying and doing a very similar thing to what you did, like just writing out like what I wanted to change about my life. Because I wasn't
Mm.
happy. Um,
I have that exact same story, essentially. Like, I have two fundamental turning points in my life. The first one I just told you, and the second one, which is doing acid with the people that I used to be friends with that I said I was gonna like. I, I, so the bridge happened. The bridge thing happened after, like, when I was just leaving school, and after that, I kind of met a few new people and I was hanging out with them, but I was still like friends with my old mates. And I'd always wanted to do acid, and I did it with them. I did it with them twice, but the second time was way more important. We, the first half was amazing, bro. We went to the zoo and did acid at the zoo, and I'm telling you, like, gee, I'm seeing multicolored giraffes. Fucking the colors are changing. Like,
yeah,
that was cool. But the second part, I smoked weed. Is that what you said you did
yeah,
as
yeah,
well? Yeah, I smoked weed on tripping. Gee, some people love these two as a combo, but me, bro, it just sent my brain into the fucking multiverse. And like, I was just thought looping, spinning, and my friends were getting annoyed at me. Now, when you'll notice, yeah, when you're having a bad time tripping, like you need help and a bit of like love, yeah.
uh,
And when people are giving you hate, it's just like horrible. And yeah, I had a very similar experience and it was just terrible. And I had hours of thought loops and I went home and just was fucking glad it was over. But after that, it felt like my third eye had woken up and it was like, yo, what are you doing?
yeah,
What are
yeah,
you doing?
yeah,
And fucking my life has just gone like, well, life actually goes like this on a steady climb, but
yeah,
it's got better since then. So yeah,
yeah.
very similar story.
It's so interesting, and I think it's just so. When I look back, it's hard to believe it was me. I don't know if you feel the same
Yeah,
way, but like
facts.
being like, even though I was like 16, so even though I'm almost like 23 now, so it was a long time ago, but it just feels like a completely different person. I just can't believe that all those choices were made that got to that point.
Yeah,
Um,
same,
but I do,
same.
my life now would be so different. Like people say to me, like friends that have known me for many, many years, that when they look back, that I went to school, they'll say to me like, "Oh, do you regret that all that happened?" And I
Yeah.
don't regret it because it just shaped me as an individual so much. Like it's
And,
completely changed my course of life that I don't
mm,
regret it at all.
yeah, no, you shouldn't. Like, I had to be an embarrassment at school and at home to become the individual I am today. And I'd like to think I'm quite a nice guy. And nowadays I make friends pretty easily. So, like, fucking clearly doing it the worst possible way you can do it, shaped doing it the best way.
Yeah.
So,
I have a question for you because
yeah,
um,
yeah.
one thing I'm curious about is like in our time in Malta and since I've been friends with you, I think you mentioned like that you feel like a hippie or like you're a bit of a hippie. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to ask about this because I'm just so curious. Like, what does it mean to you to be a hippie? Like, what do you think?
Mm, okay. So, like, I think it's a mix of things. Like, on that, I don't wear like. Actually, I've just started to, but I don't wear like all the patterned clothing that all the other hippies wear. But like, I'm spiritual. I'm gonna cover my body in tattoos like an art piece. I wear very colourful clothing and I'm very outgoing. And I just love nature. Like I feel at one with the earth. Like I just feel at one with kind of life in a strange sense. Like if you if you're not if you don't like if you don't relate to that, it's really hard to understand. But like I really feel like a deep connection to things, in a like really deep connection to things. And when things are going wrong in the world, it really really hurts me in a weird way. And I really, that's another reason I really need to become successful, because like the people that are in control of the world right now are really fucking it up. And we can have a very lovely life. Like I have a very beautiful vision that many people have had for years, that that society can be so much nicer. Like society has gone through times where everyone is outgoing and having festivals and seasons to like celebrations together all the time, and jobs they like, and there's not too much money concerns and all this stuff. But no, I don't know. I guess the main part of what I call being hippie is just feeling connected to life.
Mm. I like the your feeling of like wanting you feel like you want the world to be a really good and happy place. I feel like
Yeah,
if I had to put a ideology on being a hippie, I feel like that is a good one because you have like the hippie movement from the '60s where that, I mean that is the driving
yeah,
force behind it is just trying to make a better
100%.
society, like a free one.
That was a powerful movement. The movement in the '60s is what caused essentially is what caused massive change in the '70s. In the '70s, there was a big world shift. If you fucking know, people call it conspiracy theory, but it's not conspiracy theory because it all gets proven fucking true, you donuts. Anyway, in the '70s is when America changed the gold standard. I can't remember what it's called, so that they could print infinite money and do all the wars they want. But it's also when they banned the hippie drugs, because they banned they wanted to ban all the stuff that was teaching you all of the they 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 banned psychedelics to ban the hippie no war the peace and no war movement. And fucking
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
they
I agree.
ban
I
weed
think
because that's a part of it.
I do agree. I feel like especially the government because the government, the American government specifically, imagine pre 1960s, they had a good grasp on their population. Like they could control them in a sense that if you put something in the media, people trusted it.
Yeah.
If they want you to go work the normal 9 to 5 without any question, a normal household family, you were just like the model productive citizen with no
Mm.
uniqueness, no change in a way. And I feel like that not sort of like 1960s sort of hippie movement, anti-war and like freedom. It's almost, I think why they were so scared of it is because you had all these people that were trying to build like communities and just do drugs and not work, and they were happier
They did a
individuals.
bit, yeah.
They were happier individuals, but then obviously the government was like, oh no, we're going to lose all our workforce.
Yeah, I swear. The the government are terrible, or what, saying the government, the people that own businesses who uh lobby with in America, lobby with the government, or in the UK, fucking who knows what they do to corrupt these people, but they fucking do it. Um, all, we're trained to work for all of these big companies. Big companies run the world, and you need a workforce. So our current education system is still based on the education system designed in the 1900s to get people away from the farms into factories to build up cities, to build up business. And the person that designed it literally says it's built to crush free will so that people can't make their own decisions and they just follow what you tell them.
Yeah, I mean it is really interesting. I think I've got to touch on a point because for me, it's so crucial, and it is where we disagree, but I think it is interesting. Is I mean, the thing we agree on is our optimism for society. Like, we want it to get better. We think it will get better, and it will improve. Um, I think you talked about how at the moment the people in charge are not doing it justice, like they're not doing a good job. Um, when
Yeah.
we're in Malta, I was obviously surprised to learn that you're like a big. You think Trump is almost like that savior in a sense, and I
Yeah.
couldn't like more strongly disagree. Why do you think that Donald Trump is such an influential guy in the sense that you think he's almost like saving society?
Well, Donald Trump and Elon have taken power in America, and they are on the side of good. The America, a lot of British politics and worldwide politics is based off American. It's quite similar, yeah. Uh, Trump and Elon are on the side of good. The other side is ridiculous business corruption, who are going to war everywhere, stealing all the money. If you listen to Elon Musk talk about all the stuff he's uncovering about the government, do you know what an non-government funded organization, NGO, something like that? Anyway, they they are literally uncovering that there's millions of like organizations just made under the government branch to funnel money out. The people that were running the American government were horribly evil, and I mean, a lot of them were Freemasons who are satanic worshippers. So yeah, Trump's not exactly a perfect individual, but he doesn't worship Satan. So yeah, big difference.
I haven't heard about the Freemasons in so long. I remember,
I mean,
God,
the
that's
Illuminati, mate. It's
that,
covered in their money. The American money, all the dates on it aren't even. They're nothing to do with America. Like they're based on when the Illuminati was made and Freemason history.
yeah. I thought I think to explain the context, I feel like maybe my history of the Freemasons is not completely accurate, but I'll try and do my best. Um, so the Freemasons is a group of individuals who it's almost like it was like a man's like gentleman club
Yeah.
where you could only join by invite only, and they would only invite powerful people in society, like rich businessmen and like people near the top, at least from my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I first heard about them. There's a book called War and Peace, which was written. I don't even know how long
No,
ago,
I
maybe
think I've heard of that book.
over like 100 years ago at least.
Yeah.
And it's based in like the 1800s, about when like Napoleon was kind of like having war with Russia, and they talk a lot about follows a character who joins the Freemasons group, and like how he goes through all the initiations and stuff, and like how he's an influential guy. But I've actually been to the Freemason Museum in London. Like there's a whole museum there.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
where
I want to go to that.
they have like you go in and bro, they proper search you before you go in.
Yeah.
They were going through all my
Hey,
stuff,
fiddling with your bumhole and that. You got anything up there, boy?
and then you go in, and then it shows you all the history, and like they have all of their outfits they wear, and then there's a whole library section like talking about all the history and things. I can't really talk about what their views are, but in going back, like linking it for you to like the Illuminati, like where all these stories come from is, from my understanding, is like the Illuminati was a real group with like I don't know 100 members or something, all influential, powerful people,
Mm.
and then they were also closely tied to the Freemasons, and then some people believe the Illuminati is still about. I don't necessarily believe it. I think
Yeah, it definitely is.
I think personally that when there's a lot of sources that say that when the Illuminati broke apart, a lot of them joined the Freemason group. That's what I personally believe is true. Um, but yeah, do you want to go on about that? If you think that that's about
Freemasons have been around for a long time. It's essentially it was like gentlemen's clubs almost, but it's also uh in the 1800s, most of these clubs and communities were built of churches and religion. So the Freemasons started actually as like a bit of a as churches, but they're offshoot. So they've got it had a bit of like gentlemen's club rules into it, but some screwed up Donnies just took it far. See, people worship God, and there's loads of religious texts about God, but people don't realize there's loads of religious texts about Satan. People have been following Satan for years. There's loads of churches you can go into that are covered in like the Baphomet and like that worship Lucifer and loads of stuff. So the
what do you think their beliefs are though? Do you think why would they worship Satan? Because I know there are these like Satanist churches. Do you think that they believe that like Satan is their god, and because all right, I'll pose a little
I
scenario.
do.
Like one of the things about the questions that everyone asks about God is like, oh, if God is real, then why is there so much suffering in the world? Like, do you think that these people believe that because all this suffering is there, it must be Satan that's in charge?
Yeah, I mean, partly there's God and Satan. What I believe is, and what many people believe, Earth is in between heaven and hell. Have you've heard of purgatory? Yeah.
Like the middle
So
point.
yeah. So basically, a lot of cultures believe souls reincarnate, and I think that's probably true. And a lot of so much of this ties together. If you look at near-death experiences, a lot of them have very religious experiences where they feel like they talked to God or went up to a place that felt like heaven. And a lot of DMT experiences feel like talking to a god, a higher entity. And the Egyptians and a lot of cultures talk about life after death, and you can either go back up to heaven or fall down to hell. And reincarnation, a lot of Asia talks about reincarnation. All of this stuff is very interlinked, and basically the grand theory is that we are souls. God, we're in the image of God, which is a conscious and unconscious soul who has free will and can do stuff. So we have fallen from heaven because we sinned for whatever reason. We found sin appealing, and that's why we're on this earth and all this bad stuff happens, because as humans we have both good and bad in us, hence why we fell from heaven. And the idea is we want to get back up. And but it's not even just about life after death. Like, come on, if you follow what's good for you, your life's going to be better. Like, there's obvious negative consequences if you do the shit that's bad. So yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah, no, I think it's a very
there's
good point.
I think the back on the Freemasons, it's hard for people like us to explain it because we don't know in detail. But there's a extremely good testimony on YouTube. It's ridiculously in detail. It's like 2 hours long of a guy that was in the Freemasons and did all of the um it's just unbelievable the stuff you hear. And it's not you can tell what's marketing because people try and sell you something, but this guy's just telling you his experience, and it's pretty believable. Let me just
Yeah,
find
I think. I
Freemason.
mean, it's super.
You should definitely watch this afterwards.
Yeah, no, I would like to know more about
Keep
this
getting
history.
removed off YouTube. I'll find it later. Anyway, it's like I don't know. Anyway, there's a really good
I'll
testimony
find
on
it later,
YouTube.
and then I can link it in the description. But
Yeah, hard.
yeah, I think. I mean, I have always believed in sort of that there are these sort of groups of individuals that have quite a significant amount of power in society. I feel like the perfect explanation to people. Because a lot of people, I will say this view, and they'll say, "Oh, that sounds like quite like a conspiracy theory almost." So I'll pose it to the way that I would pose that how I would respond to that. In my view, there are a lot of individuals in society that are very close friends with each other, and they spend a lot of time with each other, and they are in influential, powerful positions. And then they talk with each other, and they help each other, and they sway decisions to benefit each other. And people want to say that sounds like a conspiracy theory, and I'll make the argument why it's not. Let's say our friendship group, right? Like, I feel like Nathan, you're like kind of part of our friendship group now. Like, but let's say
Yeah, I'm
like
kind of
all the
like
people,
my way in.
yeah, like all the people that I've grown up with in London since I was like 11 years old, and these are all people I've known for many many years. But a lot of people they would know someone since they were born, and then all the way up till throughout life. Like I had a guest on the other day, and he went to a boarding school, and like he knew a lot of people at that boarding school that started when they're 5 years old. So they were the same group of people for many many years, and they get very close. Now, if you go to these schools, let's say you went to like Eton or Harrow, like the top private schools in the UK, and you have a friendship group since you were 10 years old, and then you go off and work in politics and eventually become prime minister or head of the top
Yeah,
one of the top UK companies, you would help out your friends like the same way we would help out our
100%.
friends in our group. You naturally would, as an individual, help out your friends the best you can. Like we have a connection.
Your argument is just like bias between friends that there's obviously going to be friends and smaller societies in these like governments and that, and they're going to favor each other. But it's a lot deeper than that. The world is being slowly deconstructed in front of our eyes. America's we literally watched America get deconstructed politically, wait, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Physically, money, everything, food, everything is being slowly deconstructed, and we're in a spiritual warfare right now. And there's a reason that the hippie movement and the peace and love movements are getting banned. There's a reason that um that God is being slowly seeped out of society. There's a reason all these things are happening, and it can all be traced back to the fucked up people who run the world.
But that's I think that's where we disagree. Well, I agree with that point that you've made, but where we disagree is like how Donald Trump's role in that. I think like
Slowly building back America.
to me, Donald Trump
There's no
represents.
way you can't argue that though.
I'll try my best. I feel like
Bro,
I
he's trying to stop the war. He's
yeah, but
ruining. He's
listen.
taking out all the corruption. He's trying to get his people richer. He's partnered with RFK Jr., who's trying to make America healthy again. It's not like it's not about the individual Donald Trump. He is literally, unarguably making his country better, and
Okay,
that's why most people voted for him. It's really
in terms of
pretty
you,
obvious.
I mean, you talked about like we talked about the Satanists and like God and the purgatory in the middle of
Yeah.
heaven and hell almost. I would argue that one of the like the heavenly ideas, or one of the like as you said, like if you follow the God, like if, truth is a key idea in like being a good person, like telling the truth and
Right.
like following the truth.
100%.
I would say that that is one of Donald Trump's things that he just cannot follow. Like he cannot even do is like truth. He can't tell the truth.
I
Um,
just think he's a
and
smart marketer because he's the number one most targeted person in media history. No one ever has had their name uh criminalized as much as this guy. So unless this guy is 100% pinpoint accurate with everything he says will get taken out of context and spun as a lie. And it's
what? So you think that because I think he's a liar, that's because of media manipulation saying that he's a liar, and that's why I believe
yeah,
it.
bro. In both the UK and the US, it's something like 80 or 90% of the media is owned by, I forget which side,
Rupert
left or right
Murdoch,
it
like
is.
people like that.
No, but it's not even like them as an individual. You can see it on, bro. I literally see this with the Zelensky and Trump argument. You can literally go through your news feed on YouTube and see all of the pages that have the same title. All of a lot of these these brands that are all controlled by the same people. They may have good people working for them, but they're told to write stories in a manner which criminalizes their enemy. Trump was fucking in. They tried to indict Trump when he was their political rival.
Don't get me
Anyway,
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I do fully agree that I feel like the media is biased and that there is.
just bias. It
It's
just
not biased.
lies
There,
all the
there
time.
is.
It's completely false. A
No,
lot of
no,
it.
and it's, a lot of it is just complete and utter waffle. I mean, you get so many. There's so many articles out there that are just completely spreading misinformation and skewing people's the things they say to completely lies. However, with Trump, I do believe that he is lying, and not because of.
He probably does lie about some
I
stuff.
think that the main reason, right, and like I just there's so many reasons, but especially with what's happening at the moment with Zelensky, how can you see what's going on with Zelensky in a good light?
So my nan said this to me, and it's crazy. They went to right. They have been behind the scenes dealing with each other for months. Yeah, right. So they went to a peace treaty. A peace treaty. Let's look at this rationally. They went to a peace treaty where they were trying to make peace. What they had been saying behind scenes about peace, which apparently they'd both been saying they want, and then they go to the media. It's just a show, basically. They go and do this in front of the hundreds of cameras, interview as a show to show the people. It's a publicity stunt, yeah. And Zelensky goes there and fucking trash talks Putin and just spews up like hate. And he may have been right on a lot of it, but that's not that wasn't what they were there to do. They were there to have a civilized conversation and a peace treaty. But Zelensky, for what he's worth as a corrupt individual, was clearly told, you've got to have an argument right now because we're not having peace. And do you know what comes out after it? Well, we're going to be in war for another 100 years. And signing 100-year deals. Europe saying we're going to keep funding this war. It's like it's
You know
pretty
what I
obvious
see
that
as
Trump was
Trump?
not the problem there. Zelensky deliberately sabotaged that.
I think the reason why I disagree is because I'll explain what my thoughts are on the situation and how I feel like it's gone down. So you've got Russia that's invaded Ukraine back in 2014, and when Russia invaded Ukraine, like Crimea to be specific, they went in there. They there was a lot of there was obviously that battle and the fighting, and then Zelensky made a peace deal back then, all the way back in 2014. He made an agreement with Putin. There was other people at the table, like other European leaders, like America, all these people. They made a peace deal, but there wasn't any security guarantees. So if Putin ever went and ever did anything again, then Zelensky, then nothing would happen. There was no consequences to his action, right? So this all goes down. They make this peace deal, and then what do you know? Again, 5 years later, 6 years later, Putin is invading Ukraine again, right? So this has happened, and now, so why this is relevant to what's happening now with Trump and Zelensky is Trump is saying, "Oh, you don't want peace. Like you're not even trying to make a deal. Like you wouldn't be saying these things about Putin if you were trying to make a deal." But what the US is not, what Trump is not taking into account with this whole situation is Trump is refusing to provide security guarantees, and that's what Zelensky, the arguments
Yeah, he is actually.
making. That's no, because that's what Zelensky was making.
No, Trump is the only American prime minister that Putin hasn't broken his agreements with.
But Trump's only there for another 3.5 years, and he's gone.
Yeah, but he was there for the four years before, and
but what I'm saying is, Trump is gone.
As a prime minister, he had the best relationship with the other world superpower that any of them have had. And that's what you need. You need someone you need someone like Trump, where the other world powers aren't going to fuck with him, so that they actually keep their agreements. And that's what happened last time.
But what
Trump
happened?
is notoriously one of the reasons he has become so popular is because he's anti-war. That's one of his number one selling points. And in America, if you watch a lot of American just content on both sides, despite if they like him or not, that's what they say the most.
But what happens with Trump once Trump leaves, and if there's no security guarantees, then Putin could just walk back into Russia, into Ukraine.
It depends if they've got a fucking idiot running the country like Biden. So, but they won't, because I assume JD Vance will take the role.
But can you see why I'm saying
Very intelligent individual?
Zelensky was arguing for security, for a security guarantee, and that's what Trump won't give it to him, and that's why they're having all these issues.
Yeah, he will. In fact, there's, by that rationale, nothing is a security guarantee. By that rationale, you tell me a security guarantee.
Well, Trump is trying to do this deal.
No, you can't. There isn't
one. No, I'll try and answer it.
It's the flaw in the argument.
I'll try and answer it.
Okay, sorry.
Trump right now is trying to say, "Oh, we want 50% of your country's minerals." just for free, for nothing, just for free, right?
For free,
So
it costs 350
that
billion, but yeah.
well,
And what,
okay,
like hundreds
but
of thousands of lives?
and Zelensky is saying that he wants security guarantees if he gives him 50% of his minerals. I feel that that is a fair thing to ask. And in terms of your question about what specific security guarantees would look like, you would say something along the lines of if Trump was to go in Ukraine again, you would send US soldiers to defend it. That would be an example of a security guarantee. But
That's
it's
fighting talk, though. And you don't say that at a peace treaty.
it's a deal though. It's that's a
Yeah.
fair. Okay, like
The,
for example,
the
NATO.
reason the reason the war went on is because we broke a load of, we being what the Second World War would term as the Allies. We broke all our contractual agreements with Russia about moving NATO towards Russia. And let's get it right. NATO was set up as a good thing, and like we, I'm a hippie. We need the world to be friends,
Yeah.
but we fucked it up, and we're just fucking. We've been poking the bear for years, and then we're all surprised that the bear bit one of us and chopped his fucking head off. It's like, yeah, because we've poked the bear for years. So I think what we just need is de-escalation and to stop poking the bear. And
I
we're still poking the bear that's killing all of our people. It's not. We're not meant to be doing that.
I agree. I agree with de-escalation. That is a very good point, and I think we both want that for the future. Let's talk about your music. I want to get into,
Yes,
of course. So
100%.
tell me about you did YouTube, and
Mm.
then at what point did you decide that you like weren't interested in pursuing YouTube anymore and you wanted to pursue music?
Mm. So I was obsessed with YouTube for years since like how old would I have been? 16. Well, in fact, I was obsessed with YouTube way before that. Even like a lot of people watch films, series, scroll like nowadays scroll TikTok. Bro, I am essentially just on YouTube. I only really rate YouTube as an app to like watch stuff. And so I thought that was a natural progression for me, just become a YouTuber. And like I'm very creative. So I literally have like pages of hundreds of ideas, and I've seen like I've seen so many YouTubers do the ideas I've had and get millions of views. I'm if I had a team, I'm pretty convinced that I would have become a successful YouTuber. But I was a lone individual. My ideas for context are uh like Airac style Mr. Beast group style videos, because what I wanted to do is like bring, it's a bit of a delusional fantasy. It was like bring all of my mates out of not poverty but out of normality and become rich, and like I
Yeah,
was like making all these ideas that were gonna like fucking blow up and make me rich, and that's not how it fucking works. So eventually, of like, I was doing work and having a lot of goals and that, but like, it was really getting nowhere, and I just got frustrated, and I just lost I had no motivation for it eventually. But so I had 1.5 years of uni, and then a year at home, just. And I spent the last year like fucking. I was like, right, I'm gonna go for it, and I worked like slave wage, like spending like 40 hours a video. But the
yeah,
production level was so low because you can't be the star, the editor, the writer, the filmer, fucking the idea maker. I just couldn't be all of it, and eventually I just hated it. And I had another girlfriend at the time and broke up with her, and I'd I've I wrote like a song or two like in like my 20 years of living, and I was like, fuck it, I've always wanted to like write music. I've just broke up with my girl, and I might as well write about it, use the energy into this art. And I wrote like 3 songs in a day, and I was like, oh my god, this is it. This
yeah.
is my creative thoughts and ideas are channeled into this art where it has high payoff because you can play a song multiple times, and it's very enjoyable to make it. So I've only been making music for 2.5 years, but I just I feel like I feel like I did a 5 year marketing course, and what I'm doing now is like I'm making professional music. It's it's the start of my music journey, so it's starting off not very good, but uh, I'm now learning like how to market it. It feels like where I was trying to be with the YouTube, I'm now at with the music, where every month I'm making a professional song, and then I've only done this twice, but I'll film a load of content and I'll put it all out, see how it does, and then change it for next month.
Mm.
So the first month I did like football clips combined with music video scenes, and I did all right, but it was kind of some of it was kind of shit. This month it's like nearly all videos I did in the studio, and it's kind of cool, but it's still kind of shit. And next month I've realized like all the previous stuff I've done is like really shouty in your face. I need to do it. I need to be low key, like a soft sell, what they tell you in business. So basically, I just need to. My goal is for the next year, make a song every month and market it properly. And I'm just gonna flip flop marketing until I found what works for me. And once I found what works, I should have also found the sound I want to make music on. And soon I actually should have what will become my job.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant because I mean, obviously, I saw your music like over the you said like the last 2.5 years. Um,
Mm,
so from watching that, you did a lot of songs before, and
mm,
then you kind of got rid of all those songs because I imagine you felt like they weren't good enough for the quality level that you
yeah.
want.
Well, they're all made at home on Audacity, so the audio quality is really low.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And then that's what I noticed. Like once you got rid of all that, and then you started working on this new music you've been doing, and the quality level is just it's very professional. It's a lot higher tier,
Mm,
and you can tell that with the music itself, the editing, the thumbnails. So I
yeah.
think it's definitely impressive how much of a step up the standard is.
Mm,
And I think one thing I think I've had this thought for the last couple of months now, and I'm kind of it's kind of taking over me a little bit more is back in the day I was always been a hard worker, but I'd say that I didn't do things to a high standard. Like I more just thought, oh, I'll just do loads of work, and I think I used to think that doing a lot of work was more important than the quality. and,
yes.
and I
That's what I've realized as well.
yeah, and I watched this. This is
Quality.
so silly, but I watched like the Royal. There's a documentary on like the Royal Navy and like all these recruits that they're like only like 18 years old and they go and join the Royal Navy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that one of the things that they're so strict about is how like when they make their bed and they fold their uniform and they got to polish their shoes and they're so like detail orientated.
Mm,
And if they don't do it properly like that, then they get such harsh punishments. And it's because all of the people in command are saying that they've got to teach them to do things to a super high quality because that's what's needed in on the
100%.
ship. And then so I was watching that, and then I've also been watching so much like Gordon Ramsay, all the kitchen nightmares, and different kitchens. And
Yeah.
one thing about Gordon Ramsay is he's so obsessed with detail and quality. Like everything that he does with cooking, he
Yeah.
genuinely believes that it should be done to the highest of standards. Um, and now I've like doing the podcast and also with my job and my work, like I'm kind of taking that and thinking, I want to do it to a high quality as well. I want to do it
100%.
something
It's
I'm
the
genuinely
best.
really
It's the thing.
proud of. Like
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
be proud of the work in that sense.
100%. Me too. Like I've made a lot of stuff that was fun to make,
Mm.
but like the real highest quality stuff, that's what you're proud of. When like it's about quality, and essentially with social media, you've just got to make so much until you figure out what not only how to get the highest quality, but what your version of high quality is. And it's just a really, some people get it immediately. They're fucking lucky. But most people just have to spend a long time climbing until they found what's good.
100%. I think for me, the things that I find really difficult are like titles and thumbnails. I think it's difficult to because the thing is there's two when you create creative and on YouTube there's two aspects to content you make. There's the first aspect is the getting people to click on that video. So but it's not anything to do with the content or the stuff that's in that video. It's they're scrolling through YouTube or whatever they're on and they see a title and a thumbnail and they think, oh, that looks interesting. I'm going to click on that. That is the first aspect that's difficult. And then the second one is obviously they've made it to the video. Now the content itself has to keep people engaged.
100%.
And those two, so personally, I find the content easier because I kind of know what I want to do and what I want there. But the actual thumbnails and the titles are difficult for me because it's got nothing to do with the content. It's just trying to get them to see it, and with a split second, they go, "I want to watch that." That's difficult.
It's just something that catches the eye, isn't it? It's like a hook. You've got to hook them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like a woman. Yeah, looks will get you in the door, but personality keeps them there.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the same type of stuff, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been quite the journey. I mean, obviously, you've been doing it for many years. I've only started recently.
Yeah.
So, and it's an iterative process. It's almost like you very much trial and error. You see, does this work? I think getting feedback from people is interesting. Like when I first started, like I'd make different thumbnails and I would send them to people and say, like, "Oh, what do you think of this?" And then you do the same. I think it's a good way to be because I think you almost get blind to what you've created on whether or not it's good.
100%. As you're the creator, you can get really fixated on the fact it's amazing. Like I've got in the last 2 years, I've made like I think I'm on 170 songs now. So that's like a lot, yeah. And some I'll play it, I'll play them back quite a bit when I've made them, and I'm like, yeah, this is sick. But then I'll go back to like last year, and I'm like, what is this pile of poo I've just listened to? Like genuinely, and you just other people's opinions are so important.
Definitely.
But
I think I first heard about that when like our mutual friend is Ollie, or like he
yeah,
goes under like
Lee
producer.
Gallagher, you've interviewed him.
I have his producer OJG, but he first told me about that where he obviously makes music every single day and puts them out. But he says that it's very important that when he makes a song, he almost can't spend all day on the same song because your ears you go blind to the music almost that you can no longer tell what sounds good and what isn't. You almost have to get it done in a set amount of time to be able to tell yourself whether or not it's good. And I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you really do. So I
Oh,
was
sorry.
like
So
daydreaming about something. Every time I talk, my laptop's like grunting at me. I don't know if it is for you.
it's struggling. It's holding on for dear
I
life.
don't know. I just hear myself. I just hope it's not in the audio.
No, I'm sure it'll be okay. So
Anyway, so
we're coming towards the end. I want to talk about like to finish off. I want to look at what is your hopes and dreams for the next few years. Like what do you want to achieve from life? Like what do you want to sort of get out of it?
so I'll say I had one last thing for the music, but I'll tie it in. From the outside, it will seem like I've got absolutely nowhere. And same with any small creator who has spent years but is still not at the highest quality. It will seem like on the outside, it seems like you've got absolutely nowhere. But from the inside, I feel like I've got 6 years of knowledge that is really is building, and it's just like skills or like tools in the arsenal that I'm slowly picking out, sharpening, and like getting new ones. And it does just lead somewhere. But
I think just on that point quickly, I think that's a vital point because a lot of people they're almost like looking, oh, what have you got to show for it? Like, do you have a fancy car, like a nice house or anything? But that knowledge inside your head is never leaving. Like that is you've acquired that. Like once you acquire knowledge, that is one of the most important things. Because you're building up your skills, your own skills. That's vital.
100%. That's what you want to be. Part of my journey it's really weird because like you'd think if someone's so obsessed with success, then they would have made it. But what you actually want to do, and I figured this out quite early, is you want to become the best individual you can be. You want to fix your mistakes and become a wise and kind individual. And like people may look at success as a value system for how well you're doing, but really I look at myself as way better than I was 5 years ago as an individual, as a character, emotionally, physically, habitually. There is so much more than just outside result that comes into becoming the person you want to be. So yeah.
I think that is an excellent point to finish on. Uh, Thank you, Nathan.
I've got some. Wait, I've got some stuff. I've got some stuff.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I I want to ask you a few questions as well,
Okay, yeah,
actually,
go on,
and
go
then
on.
I want to promo a bit of my music
Yeah, of
afterwards.
course, of course.
But for you, yeah, it is quite interesting to see that you've started a podcast as someone that's trying to do quite in fact, very hard and intelligent job in what engineering type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Why have you started a podcast?
Well, from ever since I was a kid, I have always loved journalists and like documentaries. So I grew up always watching documentaries, like people like Louis Theroux, Ruby Wax,
Album. Yeah.
like Stacey Dooley, all these people. I absolutely love documentaries. So and not just it's not just the topic which I've been interested in, it's the people, and that's why I love Louis Theroux and Ruby Waxes, because their interview styles is that they'll go in and it's not just about a topic. It's like they'll make the person they're interviewing feel relaxed, and you'll have a genuine, nice conversation, and that's what comes across when you make someone feel relaxed and you ask them questions and you get on well. It comes across in the documentary. So I've always
100%. You get the best out of them.
exactly, and so I've always kind of felt like that, and I have wanted to make a documentary, and I 100% will do that in the future.
Yeah.
Um, I have so many ideas about that, but I think in terms of that, I was thinking about what there's quite high barriers to entry to do a documentary. You have to buy all the cameras, like all the microphone stuff. It's a lot of money, and right now I'm trying to save up for my masters.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll just start a podcast, because on to me it feels the same, but with low barriers to entry. You
Yes.
interview people, you find those interesting stories in individuals.
It's like stage one evolution of a Pokemon. Like you're gonna stage three is the documentary, but you're not there yet. Yeah.
Exactly, and talking about those skills that you learn, like we talked about skills that are invaluable that you kind of build up.
Yeah.
When I looked at my first podcast compared to now, even my communication style, my questions, they're more concise. I think that's what I'm going for, and that's only going to get
Uh,
better to the point that when I do eventually do documentaries, I'll have those skills that I need.
you'll what's it? Hit the ground running
Exactly,
because
exactly.
you'll have been doing it, bro. You're good at this. Like as a character, when you was talking about that, like um, finding people interesting, and if you come up to them with the right like you make them feel at ease, then you get the best out of them, bro. As a person, you do that anyway. You when you chat to people, you're calm to chat to, so they like chat to you fucking loads. When me and you first met, we got on pretty immediately because we're both that sort of character that just lets other people be themselves so that everyone gets the best out of the situation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it when you said you was going to make a podcast, that actually made sense to me because I was like, yeah, he'll be good at that.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because it has been super exciting, and it's mad because we're only at the beginning. Like I feel like at the
Yeah.
moment my goal is to put out an episode every single week for the next year and see what's next. But my ultimate goal, I'm not sure if I've said this on the podcast yet, is my final goal is I'd love to interview Barack Obama. Like, I actually feel like I, I find Barack Obama so interesting, and I feel like he's a
Oh,
really nice person. Um, and I've watched so many stuff with him, and I'd love that's my final
that's
goal.
fair. You should look at his stats of how many people he's murdered in American wars.
I knew you were going to say that, Nathan. I knew you were going to say that. But
Yeah, he's
but
I'm not a fan of him, but that's cool.
no, that's all. Yeah, you should give some promo to your music because I think people should definitely check it out because it is very great. And especially your first song, I've gone back and listened to many times.
Is it hard?
Yeah.
All right, so the music right now is you wouldn't look at me and think I'm making it. It's drill. The next song's Jersey. It's quite like hard, like intense, like yo fucking be the man type shit. And also on the last one, it's got a lot of comedy elements in it. Like I say some funny shit, like 2 foot cunt in football.
Yeah.
You for you, rearrange man's jawline. And then the next one's like a gym song. It's like wake up and I'm back to me, back to the king I'm trying to be. Eating healthy, I'm looking good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's quite like personality rich music, and it's starting off in the viral culture, but as I'm doing it, I'm learning that's not what it's meant to be. So I really, I make a lot of music that's very conscious, and the hippiness is in there. So the more my music grows, that'll be what I become successful for. It won't be what I'm putting out now. I've just got to like break free from almost the evil hook of trying to go viral.
Yeah, because I mean, this is why I've always liked artists like Dave, for example, and a lot of mainstream artists like this. And personally, my favorite type of rappers are ones that do like storytelling rap, where they tell a story through their music. But why I refer to Dave, right? Yeah, and like why I refer to Dave is because he kind of gets people on that hook where he'll do a few songs that are like quite mainstream, quite popular, quite like upbeat, and you're like, oh, just listen to it a lot of times because it's like you'd have it on the background, it feels good. It's a feel good music.
Yes, yeah.
And then he's hooked in people with that initial music, and you'll go through, you'll see like, oh, what other songs does he have? And then you'll listen to that really like deep story about his life through in one of his songs. And I just think it's so incredible. And I think I've always felt like the best artists are able to reel in the masses with their music and then throw in those songs in an album that have that are those storytelling ones. And then that's 100%. My personal sort of favorites.
No, yeah, that's 100% true. It's a bit like with comedy. Comedy is very important for who's saying it. If you rate the person, you'll find it funny, but if you don't, you won't care. With music, if you've heard a banger and you look at someone's page and they've got a storytelling song and you listen to it, you're going to care a lot about that story. But if you heard the story blank outright, not knowing who they are, you're not going to give a shit. So the best artists do both. And I'm not there yet, but I fucking will be. And I make most of what I make is storytelling. I reckon I make 2/3 storytelling that is all soulful. And it may be on drill, but you can storytell on like it's melodic drill. What I think my sound will be is Brazilian funk sampled on melodic drill. And I'm making some stuff at the moment that is fucking some stuff's storytelling, some stuff's the punchy, what people care about that brings you in. And yeah.
Great. Well, I'm very excited to hear the future of your music. And thanks again for coming on the podcast. It's been a great chat and I've enjoyed myself.
That's bro, me too. Been good doing it.
Have a good rest of your day, Nathan. I'll speak to you later. Wait. Yeah?
Yes.
Go on.
Sorry, for the 5th time, I'm going to force you to wait. I just want to play like the beat to my song.
I can put it over, like it doesn't have to go through the speaker. I can put it on overlap.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you might.
If you want to say, I'll do that. So
that'll be way better.
Playing now is the song on the outro, and then
yes, hard hustle habits.
All right, sweet.
My guy.
Salvo to the world and back.
Ain't a barra, push way like marijuana. Long run like I'm a farer. Joke man full of laughter. Call her Milana, play ball like Adam Lallana. Dripped out but hate designer, dripped out from her vagina. That's a hole in one, the only designer I like is Pum. Designer vagina, clean like trim. Hate Bush, no politician, wet one, don't kiss and tell. Rap, that's Bellingham, babes, call me a player. That's Bellingham, 2-footer cunt in football. Pete for you, rearrange man's jawline. Bicycle kick man straight in the 4-eyes, tell the ref you're 11-2. It's outside, I'm coming for you. Poor dude, he's 44, I'm 22. I'm only joking, peaceful from the bud I'm smoking. This season I'm a smoker zoo, right before we kick off due. Girl love the chatter, laugh girl into bed with blagger. Hit the bev, some lagger. And I still got swagger. Name my girls like UK rappers. She my heady one, double L's. She got the jugs, pulling motor like OFB. Only fat back, get brain, don't need to chat facts. This Gen Z love, beat then ski when I see her in Central Poser. She ain't Insta model, her mate hops in, that's double nines. Don't sell the food, but she call me plugs in, plugging hoes, young B and Tugsy. Young, I'm lit, gassed up, I work for this. You'd think I'm chasing bread, I wouldn't be gluten free. Ain't a barra, push weight like marijuana. Long run like I'm a Farah, joke man full of laughter. Call her Milana, play ball like Adam Lallana. Dripped out but hate designer, dripped out from her vagina. That's a hole in one, the only designer I like is Pum. Designer vagina, clean like trim. Hate Bush, no politician, wet one, don't kiss and tell. Rap, that's Bellingham, babes, call me a player. That's Bellingham, go gym, get a little pump. Link Bay, get a little pump. Got love bread, I got whole visibility. I feel like Bellingham, baller, and I keep telling them greatness is what I'm selling them. So of course they buy, home is where the heart is, so rep your city. Me and the boys from Southampton, both the coast but I don't rep gold. Bear of us lit, that's evil shit. Gonna be one the greatest, change the game to remember the name. BMY to the NAT, HAN like Chinese name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, numerical, getting hysterical. I mean historical, our country's downfall's probable. I can rap about cunt elites, wage war and shagging kids. Slavery across the world, of course, I'm banning drugs that show you thoughts. Ain't a barra, push weight like marijuana. Long run like I'm a Farah, joke man full of laughter. Call her Milana, play ball like Adam Lallana. Dripped out but hate designer, dripped out from her vagina. That's a hole in one, the only designer I like is Pum. Designer vagina, clean like trim. Hate Bush, no politician, wet one, don't kiss and tell. Rap, that's Bellingham, babes, call me a player. That's Bellingham.
Salvo to the world and back.